let's take a look at some of the most expensive vehicles to transport. So, number one is going to be exotic cars. You know, I'm sorry. My heart's just broken for all you Ferrari and McLaren owners out there. I'm just honestly heartbroken that you've got to pay 30, 40% higher over even the 30% higher enclosed rates to begin with. Why is that? Oh, it's very simple. Oh, it's the same car. It's just going on an enclosed trailer. It's no different than hauling a Corolla. Really? I mean, I honestly have heard these arguments. You're hauling a Brinks truck down the highway. That's what's different, okay? I wonder what kind of liability do you think that is? What kind of insurance nightmare do you think that is? Okay, one scratch on a 488 GTB is like $30,000. One scratch on a Corolla, customer probably doesn't even care. Maybe you got to give them a couple $100. You're breaking my heart. Pay the money. Quit being cheap. This is seriously. I'm talking to you Ferrari owners out there. If you call me and you tell me that the price is too high, I don't even care what price it is. I mean, obviously, at some point, it's a stupid price, agreed, but I don't want to hear it. I just don't want to hear it. Like, and to the people that don't have these cars, you should just know. I mean, seriously, some of these people are the cheapest people imaginable. I have a very good friend that just bought a 2020 Corvette, very wealthy gentleman I know, and he's a friend. I shoot the shit with him all the time, so he wouldn't care, but just saying, this guy drives me up the wall because he will like chintz out on $100 when I've got like a lift gate 6-car enclosed trailer available to pick up this thing. I don't even know what to say. It's just like, are you freaking kidding me right now? You want to wait around another week or however long so that you can find some junk ass trailer when I've got, in this case, it was Gas Motorsports with a 6-car enclosed that's out of Washington, badass company. You're honestly going to chintz out on that? It's just, if you haven't seen the other video, I think it's like supercar shipping nightmares, check it out. I mean, some of these wealthy people will send out utility trailers, complete junk ass equipment to pick up $1 million cars. It's mind-blowing. I'm telling you, it is absolutely mind-blowing. They'll spend 20 extra thousand on like the velvet interior or some crap, and then they're telling me they don't want to pay an extra $300 for a lift gate 200K trailer. Get the fuck out of here. I don't want to hear it. Number two is going to be large vehicles like Hummers and wider vehicles, especially the like ladder, the transit vans with like ladder racks and such, and then some of the wider, older Hummers are just a nightmare. And the heavier it is, you're gonna have to pay more for that also. So any kind of F-250, like diesel trucks, dualies, transit vans. I mean, they're basically, you're like hauling two vehicles. I mean, and they're heavy as hell. So you're going to pay extra. You're going to pay a lot more money for that. I mean, if a basic car is moving at, say, 1,000, probably going to have to pay more like 1,500 to get the same vehicle moved if you're talking like an XL van or F-250 or greater. So yeah, and if you want to ship those enclosed, just forget about it. I mean, it's like not even worth your time, honestly. I've had people want to try to move the squared, the Mercedes G63 squared enclosed, and it's just too fucking wide and it's too tall, and you're not going to be able to do it. And if you do try to do it, someone's probably going to damage it. And I know because we almost, back when I was hauling, tried to move one, and before we winched it in, I could see that it was too tall at even 84 inches in our trailer. We couldn't get it into the trailer. So, and most people are not going to be that cautious. They're just going to pull it in and just slice the roof right on up. So anyway, the second one is big utility vehicles, Hummers, Sprinter vans, F-250, diesel trucks, that sort of thing. All right, number three is going to be inoperables of all kind. If your car is inoperable, you're certainly going to pay a lot more, probably comparable to the XL vans and trucks, even if it's like a Honda Civic, simply because you have to understand how much extra work that is for a mega hauler. They're moving cars on and off the trailer all the time. So if they've got to deal with an inoperable car, the only way they can even haul it if they're going cross country is put it all the way in the front of the trailer and just not touch it until they get to their destination. So, and if they've already got a full load on the trailer, what are they going to do? Unload every single car to get your car all the way to the back? You're asking them to do a lot of work to move that car. And why would they move it when there's multiple other vehicles in the same area that need to be shipped for what, a couple hundred less? Yeah, they're not going to even mess with it. So, and then you really start getting into the expensive territory if you're talking about an older vehicle and it's inoperable. Now you're like 40% higher. I mean, those are pretty high. They're pretty high on the list. If it's an older vehicle like a 70s, Cadillac inop, forget about it. You're going to pay some big money for that. It just is what it is. Nobody wants to move it. No trucks want to move that unless you just want to give them a bag of cash. It's just too much work, and I wouldn't touch it either. A lot of those old cars too have like broken suspension parts, steering wheels aren't functionable, brakes don't work. They're kind of a liability hazard as well because nothing on the vehicle works. You don't want it rolling around, rolling backwards, parts flying off. They're a pain in the ass. All right, and number 4 is gonna be classic cars. Okay, classic cars are just older and they're more of a pain because they don't have like power steering a lot of the time. You can't see anything, especially if you're hauling it enclosed. You cannot see when you're driving it. You cannot see like where the rear or front wheels are. If you look at some of those old 3 on the tree, which no one knows how to even drive one of those anymore, or some of those old Cadillacs, old Chevys, like Bel Airs and such, you can't see where the freaking tires are. And when you're trying to pull a car on a trailer, that's a huge issue. If you can't see the front tires or rear tires, you don't know where the freaking car is. And you have a lot more higher percentage of damaging or just not putting it straight on the trailer. So you almost need 2 people a lot of the time to load those older cars. So if you're getting an older car shipped, you need a better outfit to move it, or you probably should think about helping them move the vehicle, like at least guiding them onto the trailer. I mean, I don't normally recommend that because of liability concerns, but I mean, if you want to ensure it goes okay, I mean, you just can't see anything. So they're a pain in the ass again on those to move. And a lot of them are very heavy, very, very big. Don't start every time. They leak fluid, so especially if you got a top and a lower deck, the older cars leaking gas, leaking fluid all over the bottom car, then the owner of the bottom car is fucking pissed off. So they present a whole nother realm of challenges that a lot of trucks don't want to deal with. So again, in that scenario, what are they going to take? 2010 Honda Civic for say $1,000, or your 1965 Buick for $1,100? No, they'll take the Honda all day. You're gonna have to pay at least $13, $14, move it at the same rate. All right, and the final number 5 is just gonna be large SUVs and bigger sedans, essentially, or luxury cars like big Mercedes, S classes, or big like Cadillac Escalades, Chevy Tahoes. You're gonna be paying like 20% more or so try to move those. They're sort of in the same realm as the truck, but they're not going to take as much as a big Sprinter van or anything. So, depending on the area and the availability of trucks, those are a little higher, but they're not crazy high. And then on the final ones, like crossovers, a lot of times, like crossovers are almost nil. They don't really take almost any more to move than like a Honda Civic, generally speaking. I mean, sometimes they'll take a little bit more, but not much. And then obviously something like a Honda that I keep mentioning is essentially the base rate. Like those are the cheapest cars you can move. Is Honda Civics, Nissan Altimas, Kia Rios. They are at the lowest end of the spectrum, and they can get moved many times very cheaply. Just because they don't take up a lot of room. They're easy to move, easy to put on the trailer, easy to take off the trailer. Not a lot of liability. Usually people that own them aren't driving you crazy, because another factor that people don't think about is if somebody just bought a 2019 Porsche or a 2019 Mercedes, well, they're probably going to be calling you, bugging you all the time versus a guy who's just sending his, Kia to his new home. I mean, he's probably, whenever it shows up, he's cool. So, a lot of factors to consider. I mean, these people are working for a living, so they consider all the factors when they're picking up vehicles. Do I want to deal with that? Do I want to deal with the headache of that? Is what it is. So there you go. There's the top 5. Happy hauling. Check y'all later.